The challenge from the stars. The Galactic Coalition had existed for over 12,000 cycles. 27 species from across the spiral arm lived in relative harmony, their differences mediated by the Council of Elders and their shared resources protected by the Champions Protocol. It was an elegant system that had prevented interstellar war since its inception. When conflict arose between worlds or species, champions would represent their people in controlled challenges of skill, strength, and strategy. But now a new threat loomed at the edge of Coalition space. The Void Harbingers, a hive-minded species of energy beings, had begun consuming stars and demanded tribute from all worlds they encountered. They had already absorbed 3 systems at the outer rim, and conventional weapons proved useless against their quantum-shifted forms. High Elder Zulax of the Thraxi called an emergency council on the neutral station Harmony Point. Representatives from all 27 species gathered in the Grand Chamber, anxiety rippling through the assembled delegates like a physical force. The Harbingers have proposed terms, Zulax announced, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the chamber's light in fractured patterns. They will engage in the Champions Protocol rather than consuming our worlds outright. A murmur of relief passed through the chamber. However, Zulax continued, they have specified conditions. The challenges will test abilities beyond our understanding. Our best strategists estimate our current champions have less than 7% chance of success. The chamber erupted in panicked chatter. The Coalition's champions were the finest specimens from each world, beings who had trained their entire lives in combat, strategy, and the ancient arts. If they weren't sufficient, what hope remained? Science Elder Mephara of the Voxery rose to speak, her tentacles undulating in the formal pattern of urgent suggestion. There is one species we have been monitoring that may offer a unique approach. They are primitive in technology, but demonstrate unusual qualities. The holographic display in the center of the chamber shifted to show a blue-green world spinning slowly. Earth, Mephara said, home to humans. Footage began playing of humans engaged in various activities, scaling sheer mountain faces without equipment, diving to impossible ocean depths, enduring extreme temperatures, and most shocking to the assembled delegates, deliberately placing themselves in harm's way to protect others, even members of different species. Their physical capabilities are unexceptional, Mephara explained, but they possess unusual adaptability, creativity in crisis, and a psychological trait their scholars call spite. The ability to continue functioning, and even excel when all logical analysis suggests they should surrender. War Elder Krotek of the Verax snorted, his armored plates clicking in dismissal. They are barely space-capable. They have no unified government. Their history is riddled with internal conflicts. How could such primitives help us? Because, Mephara replied calmly, they excel precisely where we are most vulnerable. The Harbingers will test capabilities we cannot predict. These humans specialize in the unpredictable. After 3 days of heated debate, the Council agreed. A delegation would be sent to Earth to request champions under the protocol. The mission was classified as low probability, but necessary given the dire alternatives. The delegation arrived on Earth in early spring at the coordinates of the United Nations headquarters in New York. Despite careful planning to appear non-threatening, their ship, disguised as much as possible to resemble Earth aircraft, still caused significant commotion upon landing. First Contact Specialist Tresla of the Femoran led the delegation. Her species' naturally humanoid appearance made her the least likely to trigger defensive responses. Even so, she wore adaptive camouflage that further minimized her alien features. The humans reacted with surprising composure. Within hours, representatives from their various nations had assembled. Security forces maintained perimeters but did not appear hostile. Most shocking to the delegation was the presence of ordinary civilians who had gathered nearby, many displaying expressions that the delegation's cultural analysts identified as excitement rather than fear. Curious, noted Tresla to her colleagues through their neural link. They seem more intrigued than terrified. After initial translation difficulties were resolved, Tresla explained the situation to Earth's assembled leaders, the threat of the Harbingers, the Champions Protocol, and why Earth had been approached. "Let me ensure I understand correctly," said the Secretary-General of the United Nations, her face displaying the micro-expressions the delegation had learned indicated intense concentration. "An advanced alien force is threatening your coalition of worlds. You want human champions to represent not just Earth but your entire coalition in a series of challenges against these Harbingers. And failure means the destruction of worlds, including potentially ours." "That is correct," Tresla affirmed. "Our analysis suggests humans possess unique qualities that may succeed where our traditional champions would fail." "What exactly makes you think we would be good champions?" asked another human leader. Tresla gestured, and holographic footage appeared showing humans in various situations: a firefighter running into a burning building, a small boat confronting a whaling vessel, a lone protester standing before tanks, medical workers treating patients during pandemics without proper protection. "Your species consistently demonstrates behavior that our analysts cannot reconcile with logical self-preservation," Tresla explained. "You take risks that no rational being would consider. You innovate solutions using methods no trained expert would attempt. You continue fighting long after statistical models predict surrender." The human leaders exchanged glances that the delegation could not interpret. "Additionally," Tresla continued, "we have observed that humans often perform best when told something is impossible. This quality may be essential against the Harbingers, who will design challenges specifically to be unwinnable by conventional approaches." The delegation had expected lengthy deliberations, perhaps even warfare between human factions to determine who would represent Earth. They had allocated 60 Earth days for the selection process. Instead, the humans asked for 48 hours to formulate a response. When they reconvened, the Secretary-General surprised the delegation with an unexpected question. "These challenges, are they primarily physical, intellectual, or both?" "Both and more," Tresla replied. "The Harbingers exist partially outside our understanding of reality. The challenges will test capabilities we cannot fully predict." The Secretary-General nodded. "Then we've made our decision. We will provide champions for your coalition, but not in the way you might expect. We need 1 week to assemble our team." The delegation was perplexed but agreed. 1 week later, they returned to find not a selection of physically superior specimens as expected, but a diverse group of 20 humans of varying ages, physical capabilities, and backgrounds. "These are your champions?" asked War Elder Krotek, who had joined the delegation upon learning of Earth's quick response. "Yes," replied the Secretary-General. "This team includes a quantum physicist, a kindergarten teacher, a wilderness survival expert, a contemporary dancer, a trauma surgeon, a deep-sea welder, an abstract artist, a grief counselor, a chess grandmaster, and several others with unique perspectives." Krotek's expression registered confusion. "But where are your warriors? Your strongest fighters?" A woman stepped forward from the group of champions. She was neither the tallest nor the most physically imposing, but something in her bearing commanded attention. "We're not sending our strongest fighters," she said. "We're sending our strongest problem solvers." The unexpected champions. The journey to Harmony Point took 17 Earth days. During this time, the human champions adjusted to space travel better than the delegation had anticipated, though their constant questions, incessant experimentation with ship systems, and peculiar social bonding rituals, particularly what they called game nights and movie marathons, baffled their alien hosts. Dr. Maya Patel, the quantum physicist, spent hours in deep discussion with the ship's engineers, rapidly grasping concepts that should have been centuries beyond human understanding. Meanwhile, Leo Kim, the kindergarten teacher, organized the group into rotating teams that fostered collaboration across disciplines. "They integrate knowledge horizontally rather than vertically," observed Science Elder Mefara, who had joined the return journey. Each shares with the others regardless of hierarchy or specialization. When the ship arrived at Harmony Point, representatives from all coalition species had gathered to witness the human champions. The station's vast docking bay buzzed with commentary as the humans emerged from the vessel. "They're so fragile-looking," whispered a Dravari ambassador, her scales shifting in disappointment. "Where are their enhancements? Their combat adaptations?" asked another delegate. War Elder Krotek stood rigidly, already regretting his support of this experiment. "Perhaps this was a mistake," he muttered to Zelax. The High Elder's crystalline form shimmered thoughtfully. "Let us reserve judgment. The Harbingers arrive tomorrow." That evening, the Coalition presented the humans with detailed files on previous Champions protocols and all available information on the Void Harbingers. The data was enormous, enough that Coalition analysts typically required weeks to process it. The humans divided the information among themselves and worked through the night in a frenzy of activity that alarmed the station's medical monitors. They consumed alarming amounts of a bitter stimulant beverage they called coffee and covered the walls of their assigned quarters with notes, diagrams, and strange interconnected maps of information. By morning, they had developed theories about the Harbingers that Coalition scientists hadn't considered in months of analysis. "They don't actually consume stars," explained Dr. Patel, pointing to her calculations. "They're harvesting specific quantum vibrations. The stellar destruction is a side effect, not their goal." "And the challenges aren't about winning in the conventional sense," added Marcus Wade, the grief counselor. "Based on the psychological patterns in previous protocols, they're testing for something specific. I believe they're looking for worthy successors, not victims." The Coalition representatives were skeptical but had no alternatives to offer. When the Harbingers arrived, they manifested as shifting geometric patterns of light that hurt the eyes to look upon directly. They communicated through modulated gravity waves that the station's systems translated into sound. "We seek worthy adversaries," the translation boomed. "Your CHAMPIONS YLFAC5CHALENGs. Survival is unlikely." The Coalition representatives stood frozen, but the human team stepped forward, led by Commander Sofia Torres, a former crisis negotiator. "We accept your challenges," Torres replied calmly, "and propose one modification to the protocol." The light patterns shifted violently. "Modifications are not permitted." "They're not officially modifications," Torres countered. "Rather, an expansion of definition. Your challenges seek to test capabilities. We propose that each challenge be attempted by a different combination of our champions, allowing us to demonstrate a wider range of responses." The Harbingers pulsed silently for several minutes. Finally, "This is HCCICTABL. It CHANGs in OTing. The first CHALENG begins." What followed over the next 5 days astonished the Coalition witnesses, and apparently, the Harbingers themselves. In the first challenge, a seemingly impossible labyrinth that reconfigured itself constantly, the humans sent their dancer, artist, and chess grandmaster. Rather than trying to solve the labyrinth traditionally, they identified the pattern within the changes and created a counter-rhythm of movement that carried them through. For the second challenge, a negotiation with a simulated hostile species, they sent their kindergarten teacher, grief counselor, and a former hostage crisis manager. Their approach of empathetic listening, rather than strategic positioning, resulted in the first-ever peaceful resolution to that particular challenge. The third challenge involved surviving in an environment of toxic gases with rapidly depleting oxygen. The humans sent their deep-sea welder, wilderness expert, and trauma surgeon, who constructed filtration devices from their own clothing and medical supplies. With each success, the Harbingers' manifestations grew more complex and intense. By the fourth challenge, a mathematical proof that had never been solved, the Coalition representatives had begun to hope. When the fifth and final challenge was announced, a direct neural interface with the Harbinger's consciousness. Fear swept through the observation chamber. No previous species had survived this challenge with sanity intact. The humans conferred briefly, then surprised everyone by selecting not their scientist or their mental health expert, but their entire remaining team to enter the interface simultaneously. "What are they doing?" Krotek demanded. "They'll all be destroyed." Tresla, who had come to know the humans better than most, smiled slightly. "They're doing what humans do. They're refusing to accept the terms as given." Inside the neural interface, the human team experienced the Harbinger's consciousness as a vast, lonely intelligence that had evolved beyond physical form eons ago. Rather than attempting to resist or control the experience as previous champions had, they opened themselves to it, sharing their own experiences, emotions, and perspectives. "They're not fighting it," whispered Nefera in awe. "They're connecting with it." When the interface finally disengaged, the humans emerged exhausted but intact. More surprisingly, the Harbinger's manifestation had changed from aggressive geometric patterns to a gentle pulsing sphere. "We AVFOUN do what we so UGT," announced the Harbingers. "These humans possess the quality of integration without ASSIMILATION. They maintain individuality while achieving unity. This is what we AVSEARCHED or AQROS to ELVGLXIs." The Harbingers declared the protocol complete and announced they would withdraw from Coalition space, but with a request to establish ongoing communication with humanity specifically. After the Harbingers departed, the Coalition representatives gathered in stunned silence around the human team, who appeared remarkably unfazed by their accomplishment. "How did you know what approach would work?" High Elder Zulax finally asked. Commander Torres shrugged. "We didn't, but we noticed every species in your coalition specializes in specific strengths: logical analysis, physical prowess, technological innovation. Your champions were always your best specialists." "Humans specialize in being generalists," added Dr. Puddle. "Our greatest strength isn't any particular skill. It's our ability to combine perspectives and adapt rapidly." "But weren't you afraid?" asked Tresla. "The final challenge has driven others to madness." Leo Kim, the kindergarten teacher, smiled gently. "Of course we were afraid. But humans have learned that fear is just information, not a command. Besides, when we went in together, we knew we wouldn't face it alone." As the humans prepared to return to Earth, now honored allies of the Coalition, War Elder Krotek approached Commander Torres. "I did not believe your approach would succeed," he admitted, his armored plates shifting in the pattern of formal apology. "I now see that we have much to learn from humanity." Torres nodded. "And we have much to learn from you. That's the point, isn't it? None of us has all the answers alone." As their ship departed Harmony Point, the Coalition representatives watched in contemplative silence. They had sought champions to fight an impossible enemy, and instead found teachers who showed them a different way to approach the universe itself. "Perhaps," Zilax mused, his crystalline form catching the light, "this is the beginning of a new kind of coalition."